I broke my pelvis. It's my 10th week since the accident, and I really wanted to get this out there. So, the first day of my accident, when I was in the hospital after the ER and after like a big ambulance ride and all the chaos and the testing and checking, and when the doctor came and told me I had a pelvic fracture and that I broke my pelvis in three places, I simply didn't know what was going on, and I was trying to find out vlogs of people who actually broke their pelvis to see what the recovery time is like, if I can ever walk back in my life, the other complications that comes with it, and a lot of questions basically. And I could barely find much of a video or like a vlog of people who actually speak about this. And if it's of any use to you, then here you go. So this happened on December 12th, 2022, and I almost felt like I manifested my own accident. So you know all these movies where a car comes and hit you and people fly and go falling somewhere. And I used to think like how would you fly when a car comes and hit you? Like how does the motion happen and like what exactly goes on? And I was always curious about it for some reason. And then when the car came and hit me when I actually flew, I was like, damn, this is what all the movies were talking about. Worst way to manifest anything in your life. But who manifests accidents in their life? I mean, honestly, who does that? Long story short, I think I manifested it. Or maybe I'm just blaming my own self. And this is one of those ways of me blaming myself, I guess. I'm gonna try to keep this video as short as possible, as quick as possible. I don't want to be a big rant. So, December 12th, 2022, a car came and hit me, and I was a pedestrian walking on the road, and it was a pelvic fracture in three places. It was a long time. Like, it took me about 10 to 11 weeks in bed to actually get out there. So, I want to give you a kind of like a summary on what exactly happens from here. So, if you are in a pelvic fracture, the next thing that you're really going to be scared about is peeing, because yeah, there are a lot of chances when you have a pelvic fracture that you also have a bladder rupture. It was something that the doctor detected in my case as well. He said I might have a bladder rupture, but then thankfully I did not, I guess. I don't know. It was a small thing, and I had to like really force myself to come out of this. So what happened was, once I was hit and I was still on the road, and it took some time for the ambulance to come in, and they gave me a lot of painkillers and morphine and a lot of sedation to actually bear the pain. And it was on my right side of the pelvis. So for some reason my right side leg started pulling itself out, or like I don't know, kind of like spasms, like contractions. I'm not really sure what was going on, but I screamed in pain each time the spasm happened. I just couldn't like deal with it, or like, even just bear the pain of it. But then it was there for almost 3 days. I had spasms and contractions, and the first 3 days were the most painful because you're in a lot of sedations, a lot of painkillers, and I was so nauseous. I have motion sickness, and I was so nauseous. Like, say they move my bed from one place to another room, I'm gonna get motion sick, and I started puking. I literally puked everything in my stomach for like 7 days. I puked on my friends, and it was the most terrible time. I was barely conscious. I could barely open my eyes. And I'm an international student, and I'm in New York, and it was really difficult for me because I did not have parents here, or anybody who's really close to me. It was mostly my friends here who took care of me and were there the whole time through this entire process. So the first week one, is the most painful week of your life. You're probably gonna cry your eyes out, and you're probably not sure what is going on. It takes time for a pelvic fracture to heal, so the doctors usually say it's about 8 to 12 weeks. And by the eighth week you would have progressed far, and the week between 9 to 12 is mostly you trying to like regain muscle strength and trying to like walk back. It was a pretty difficult process the entire time. Week one was like super nauseous. Okay, I need to stop jumping between weeks and like just focus on it. Week one was super nauseous, pukey all the time. It might vary from person to person, and the story is completely about how it went on for me. So the first week, I was terribly, terribly nauseous, motion sick. I could not get up from bed, and the physiotherapist was forcing me to leave. So I come from India, and in India, when you have a fracture, the first thing they ask you to do is not move the fractured bone so that the bone takes time to heal. Whereas in Western countries, I guess the practice when like you have a fracture or something, I don't know, they wanted me to move because they didn't want me to get bed sores or like, things that come from lying on a bed for a long time, like muscle stiffness and things like that. So the physiotherapist on the second day of my fracture was asking me to lift my leg, like raise it up, and I just could not do it. Like, I'm like, are you out of your mind? How am I supposed to lift my leg when my pelvis is broken? But then that's the way of things here. So it was a really difficult time for me because back home in India, my parents kept calling me. My parents are like, just don't move and things are gonna fix. We're gonna come as soon as possible. And then here's my PT trying to make me move, trying to like, like not like walk on the feet, but like at least like bear a little weight and like move through. I'm gonna attach clips on all this process. So if I had to use a bedpan, and diapers, it's pretty embarrassing because I'm 25 and you're mostly on your feet, and you're like, this age where you party and shit, and then one next second you don't know what's going on and you're in bed and like you're peeing on your bed, your diapers and everything. And it was most of a mental thing than the physical thing. Also, the food you consume is really important. You need to take a lot of high protein. So I started drinking Ensure because I was barely eating anything and I was puking. I started taking extra protein grams. What else? Like eggs, meat, nutrition. That's the most important part. So make sure you like concentrate on your diet and look at the kind of food you eat. And mostly if you're mentally strong, you're going to make it out of the hospital strong. This is going to be 12 weeks, and 12 weeks is when you're like out of the tunnel, and the only way out of the tunnel is through the tunnel. And I couldn't believe that I'm going to be there in bed for such a long time. It's very frustrating, mostly because you have to depend on somebody for everything, for even the smallest of things. And the side of your pelvis that's broken, they usually keep it from no weight bearing to partial weight bearing and then total weight bearing. I'm gonna make a second part of the video once you're out of the hospital and how the recovery works from there. So this was during winter, and I ended up spending my Christmas, my New Year, my winter vacation, Puerto Rico clinic, and again Valentine's Day, and almost the entire time between December, January, and February inside my house. It was a pretty difficult time, but I would really recommend just sticking through the process. Just fix it in your mind. It's going to be 12 weeks, and after that you're going to be out of this, and you totally got this. And you could always reach out to me. I'm going to put my email address down here, or you could put in your comments and you can ask me any questions you have, and I'll be very, very happy to answer and help you through this. It's not the best place to break bones because it's gotten a lot of nerves going on here, a lot of organs in this place, and just breaking one of these bones is gonna involve a lot of bones and rupturing other organs, and there's a difficulty of excretion. I had to take a stool softener the entire time. I stopped taking it after 2-3 weeks because I was trying to eat high starch, fibrous foods like sweet potatoes and chia seeds and things like that. But the doctors had me prescribed with a lot of pain meds and stool softener for the 7 to 8 weeks. I just stopped taking them after 2 to 3 weeks because I'm a bad patient. And I was mostly avoiding all the meds. Each time the nurses came in to give me some kind of a tablet, I was like, no, no, because I never used to take meds in India. Even when I'm having like high fever, I always used to be like, no, I'm not gonna do it. But then this is some time where you really need to take your pain meds, or you're gonna keep you won't be able to progress. You won't be able to do the PT if you're in a lot of pain, and it's really gonna affect you. So the first week was extremely difficult. The second week, it kind of like mellowed down. By the second week, I was kind of like, okay, I was trying to tell myself we're gonna face this and we're gonna get through this. And I wasn't using a bedpan. I started going to the toilet. I started going to the commode, but I was using a walker, a four-legged walker. And I think it's like brushing your teeth and like grooming yourself. These are like basic things, but it's gonna be difficult, showering especially. But you just gotta wait it out, I guess. That's the only way through. And I was so happy to take a shower on my second week. because the first week was mostly sponge baths, and the second week was very exciting because you're finally getting to pour water on yourself after a long time. You still need assistance sometimes, but yeah, that was it. It took me 2 weeks in the hospital, and when I got home, I had a couple of equipments with me. They had given me a wheelchair, a walker, a four-legged walker, a wheelchair, and a bathroom commode kind of a thing, like chair for your bathtub, so that you get to move inside that in your house and use the bathtub and the regular things in your house. Almost no walking, and I was on no weight bearing. The doctor wanted to go the conservative way for me as a plan of treatment, so I had no weight bearing for almost 6 weeks or 7 weeks post my accident. Ninth week that the doctor changed my weight bearing from bearing to total weight bearing. After 6 weeks I was on partial weight bearing, and it's just toe touching and just slight movements, and you don't use your right side at all until then. You really need your bones to like stick together. I'm going to do a part 2 of what exactly happened after that, how the weeks between from week 3 to week 8 happened, and how I switched from a four-legged walker to a one-sided crutch, and then a cane, and then completely go like without walking. So it's a long process, but if you're in this, I just want you to know that there are so many people who actually break their bones, all sorts of bones in all sorts of places. It happens. It's not your fault. You cannot it's really more of a mental battle than a physical battle. And if you're in this, for some reason, you just need to know that you gotta stick it through, because there's only you who can help yourself out of this. There have been a lot of times when I cried my eyes out. There was this one night in my second week in the hospital that I was like weeping my lungs out and crying so loud, and then a nurse came in to give me some meds, my pain med time it was, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I mean, I wasn't really sure what I was doing, because I'm in a foreign country and I had to go through this, and I was like, I don't know, and I started crying, and then she sat with me, and that was the best life advice of my life. Like, she sat with me and she told me about her injury, and she told me the only person you need to do this through this is to have a friend with you. Just have a friend with you. If you really feel like getting some help, asking someone for help, ask them for help. I was feeling suicidal by week 3 and week 4 because I was a vegetable on bed, and I had to ask people for help. I had to tell them, look, I'm going through this, and is it okay if you want to come over and stay with me and help me through this? Please don't feel bad that you want to reach out to somebody, because it's really, really important that you reach out to somebody. And because the moment you're out of this, you're going to be so much stronger. You're going to be so much stronger than before. And just have some friends with you, maybe one friend who could stick it with you, who could help you through this. And I'm gonna make another part video of how I progress from my week 3. I'm probably repeating most of this shit, I'm sorry about it, but I'm gonna make another video of how I progress from week 3, and I'll see you then. Until then, stick it out. And I'm also gonna make law school vlogs. Okay, I'm gonna cut that part. Just stick it out and you're gonna be out of this.
Biryani. Divya.
I'd show you all around. If there's anything left in this town.
Don't bring it, Sam. I'm just sending it on Snapchat. I hope that's okay. Oh yeah, the gums and everything. Yeah.
I said the things you want me to might lead to someone else but you.
You got this.
Say what you wanna say to me now. I wanna wake up with you in the morning. Show me there's nothing fake to me now. I wanna wake up with you in the morning. Say what you wanna say to me now. I wanna wake up with you in the morning. Show me there's nothing fake to me now. I wanna wake up with you in the morning. Turn this room, turn it to an ocean. Let me float around. Eyes closed, like we're dreaming even when we're not. You and me got a whole other meaning, I don't know how. You and me just know how it feels when we're falling in love. Say what you wanna say to me now. I wanna wake up with you in the morning. Show me there's nothing fake to me now. I wanna wake up